Hello, everyone. Now, as we're gradually coming out of the age of confusion, the age of spiritual darkness and ignorance, we're looking back to the past, trying to find the truth in there. We're looking for spiritual wisdom. We're actually, most of the time, looking for something that we can't even put into words. And yet, when we don't have that reference point, what we're looking for, we end up being confused, lured into something maybe that we are not looking for, but that is sold to us in the name of that which we're looking for. And as we know, in terms of subtle realms, spiritual wisdom, it can't be really boxed or tagged or really named, because it's something which is intangible. It is not out of this world. And this world is the world of names, forms, some sort of concepts and ideas. Even the idea and concept is tangible to some degree, because it's a carcass of that which we see and perceive through our senses. But spirituality is beyond. And yet, today I would like to speak about spirituality in terms of what exists currently, what is available to us. To begin with, we have to look at the collective. Whatever is available to us at this point is that which reflects the frequency of the majority. And the frequency of the majority is still stuck in the paradigm of illusion. So, but even when we're stuck in the paradigm of illusion, we want to find some outlet for our spiritual interest, even if that interest is very narrow. And that's why we have religions, that's why we have spirituality in the form of, pastime, hobby, some side interest. And only very few beings really are tapped into the spiritual realm, or the higher frequency of spiritual realm, which can relate to spirituality as formless, intangible being that can only be perceived even beyond senses, but it's perceived from within as a blissful natural being. The majority of people are looking for shepherds, for beautiful words that are devoid of that essence. A word is beautiful, truly beautiful, if it's impregnated with the essence. If it's not impregnated with the essence, it is just an empty shell. The same applies to our physical being. Our body, face can be beautiful, but if it's not impregnated with the essence, it will age, decay, shrivel, and go back to the dust. So a lot of people ask me about past masters, current masters. What do I perceive personally? What do I think? To begin with, I don't think. Perceive, yes. So out of all what I perceive, I can say from my personal humble perspective that we're living in the times of darkness, even though we are trying to evolve out of it. The frequency of the majority, unfortunately, dominates. And since we don't have the reference point for the past many thousands of years of what that spirituality, natural spirituality, is or should be, we unfortunately glide along the surface until that very moment that some few of us on this planet at this point in this day and age will turn within and discover by the grace of their own being that essence. And by reconnecting with that essence, they will also recognize this essence in the external reality. Without that recognition within, without the restoration of the link with the higher reality essence within oneself, one cannot understand spiritual sciences in the external reality. Because every spiritual science supposedly is or supposed to be impregnated with the essence. The same applies to spiritual alchemy, the same applies to any other spiritual science. Because whatever words we use, concepts, whatever ideas, those are relevant if you are filled, impregnated with that essence. And you become impregnated with that essence, blessed by that essence from within. You receive Shaktipat from within. The Shaktipat is the grace of your soul, as I keep on repeating through multiple videos. A lot of people do not realize that by attaching themselves to physical beings who represent the darkness of this age, even in the name of spirituality, they lure other people through their charisma, that charismatic appearance, that whatever they do, their demonstration is the demonic feature. And the demonic means that narcissistic trait. That a narcissistic trait means unrefined, corrupt, unwholesome self-identity. The child in the grown-up body. Now, when Shaktipat is a curse, Shaktipat becomes a curse when you receive it from someone who is cursed. The majority of people in this planet are cursed. Whether you like it or not, we wouldn't be otherwise here in this day and age, representing the condition of our consciousness. All that famine, disease, wars, conflicts, immaturity is the reflection of our corrupt collective being. And the reflection of the corrupt spiritual core. So Shaktipat cannot be given by anyone. It is a grace. It is the grace of one's own soul. When someone gives someone something, when there is an intention, there is a core of corruption. When someone tries to impose something on someone, within the framework of superiority, inferiority, when there is power distance, that's not spiritual essence. They are not acting out of spiritual essence. They're acting out of their limited selves, out of their spiritual corrupt selves. When people ask me, should we follow the masters of the past? Do you know whether they were masters or they were just people in spiritual transition, attempting to climb the mountain? The fact that other people make someone a spiritual person, a guru, a teacher, a powerful person, doesn't mean that that person actually is that. In majority of cases, it's not so. No one in this day and age, at this point of time, can reach the top unless they're corrupt. Everything is flipped, because this is the bottom level, or the lowest points of not the lowest in the Kali Yuga, but it's the end of this Yuga, of this cycle, but it's still the low point where everything is upside down. Whatever is true is suppressed. Whatever represents the essence is suppressed and concealed and forbidden. And whatever represents corruption, perversity, or perversion, confusion is pushed to the surface and taken for the truth. And because of that, there are very, very few masters on this planet. Most of them are concealed. Most of them are unknown. It is a personal perception. It doesn't need to be your truth. You can follow whoever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can explore whatever you want. In spirituality, there is one law, which is either you're dead or immortal. And so those who were immortal masters, some of the known siddhas from ancient times, and ancient means the lower cycle of Dwapara Yuga, because there are no records beyond that time, and then Kali Yuga, those were very, very few beings. The others were just practitioners, who were supposed to be humble students. And some of them were made or proclaimed to be spiritual masters just by the ignorant public. And so we continue doing till this day. True masters are very rare, and they will not say they're masters. They will always be humble students. They will not allow anyone around them just like that. So when people come and say that they received certain transmissions, Shaktipat, from whomever, and then they suffer repercussions, they get tangled, they have spiritual attachments to the darkness, to dark energies. They've opened portals that they don't know how to close and how to deal with. Their mental state, emotional health are jeopardized. Someone is harnessing their energy, sucking their energy. Someone is exploiting them in the name of spirituality. Someone is mesmerizing and veiling their perception. Someone sends them talismans and objects of power of unknown nature. So beware. If you're cursed, if you're unrefined, if you're veiled, if you're egotistical, if you are at the core a spiritual child, a narcissist who is looking for power, you will fall prey to these beings, the corrupt beings. You will receive Shaktipat, but that will be a curse in disguise. You will receive darkness from the darkness because you seek power, you seek recognition, you seek validation instead of tediously turning your focus within, looking within, refining yourself and accepting life for what it is and trying to refine yourself from within so that you can change circumstances and situations through your conscious work, by working on yourself, by simplifying your life, by becoming more coherent, disciplined, organized. Instead, you look for quick fixes, another high, another, name to look up to. Where are you in this game? So when you come here with your dark attachments, occult afflictions, black magic, ask yourself, what have I contributed to being in this situation? Especially, we speak in terms of you receiving some sort of initiations from unrefined beings, from beings who are cursed themselves, who represent the curse of this era, who represent corrupt spirituality, who are in misalignment with themselves, who put on masks of being spiritual beings, of being someone they will never be. The darkness will consume them by the end of this era, and the end of this era is just by our door. If we cannot accept the message of the truth, we will retaliate. The retaliation will come back and destroy. The core that retaliates, that unrefined, childish, narcissistic, egotistical self. The truth hurts, but pain of that is capable of liberation. So when a person is of a light essence, when they still have that light essence within, genetically, they are still somewhat connected to the higher being, they will find a way. The truth will hurt, but they will understand the challenge and they will allow themselves to go through this challenge, to battle with their inner resistance and darkness, and to come to the top by choosing the light of their being. And the light of the being cannot be put in words. It's the acceptance. It's the surrender. It's the humility. It's the ability to be truthful to oneself and authentic in every given moment. If you look for spiritual career, you're on the path of delusion. No one in this world becomes a spiritual being just by like that, by wanting, by acquiring certificates, by reading books. You're either born to be that because you are that from the beginning of time, or you are nobody. And when you are nobody, humble down, bow down before creation and look within. Try to find the essence within and cultivate it in humility for decades, hundreds of years, lifetimes, and you will come to the top eventually. You will merge. To come to the top doesn't mean to be someone, to be crowned in this world. It means to come to the top of existence through humility, through simplicity, through the essence. It means to merge with that collective higher consciousness and reality that is unknown to the majority of people in this day and age. Whether you're a crown prince or a wannabe king, all you can do in life at the start is humble down and learn from those who have gone through, those who are wise. Because at some point, we come to this situation where we're faced with the choice, with the soul choice. Do we choose the light, which means we conceal our being, our essence, and we work through our negativity, through our corruption, through this essence, through this high awareness, or we project ourselves and stay in the projection, losing our essence to the projection? The choice is always yours. There's nothing romantic about spiritual evolution. There's nothing romantic about being truthful or being the truth. Only you, if you're that, will know the merit, and you'll bathe in that frequency. regardless of who you are in the world, regardless of praises or no praises, validation, rewards, or no validation and no rewards for your being. True spiritual teachers are servants. True leaders are servants. But those who enslave are low frequency beings who have captured and kept this dimension enslaved, and all the beings who incarnate in it enslaved too, in a spiritual and in a physical way. And if you want to be someone in this prison, you are in delusion. You're just a clown. If you have a little power to mesmerize someone, delude someone, manipulate someone, or this reality to a certain degree, and you take pride in it, you're doomed spiritually. Where do you think curses come from? They come from righteousness, from superiority, inferiority complexes, from savior complexes, from the desire to prove and preach. Spirituality is beyond all of these. It's not preoccupied with the world. That's why spiritual beings mostly don't interfere. They may express, but they don't interfere. And this is wisdom, because the world spins on its own axis, and the majority dominates this world, the frequency of the majority. And that's why when people ask the question about the truth, why there is no truth in the world, why the truth is not accepted, who knows the truth? The truth is known in silence. No matter how much we speak about it, it is something that cannot be put in words. It is a perception, it's the transmission of the higher grace, of the higher reality, of knowledge. And knowledge itself is beyond words. It's awareness. It's an expanded awareness which knows directly, without mediums. And what is the medium? Your former ideologies, someone else's hearsay, someone else's ideas, well-accepted thoughts, concepts, rules, and laws. But the essence is beyond that. And so, in spiritual terms, there are two ways. You either are the embodiment of that essence, the vessel of the essence, or you're not. You have either restored the connection with the essence and keep on refining yourself till the degree you can in one lifetime, or you keep on dreaming and deluding yourself and others, depending on the position you are put into by the karmic law. You can be delusional, but you can be in a position of a spiritual teacher, a yoga teacher, a shaman, a mysterious being or a magician or an occultist and a tantric. But you're devoid of essence. You're unrefined, cursed, and filled with spirits. The shadows of your ancestors, your bloodline is pure. What are you capable of transmitting and giving to others but the dirt of your own existence? So be very careful what you share with others. Make sure you do your dirty laundry first. You refine yourself first. You master your space of consciousness first before you attempt to go preach and mesmerize. And I am sure that when you've done that work, all your desires to do so are going to cease. You're going to bathe in your own bliss if you're still blessed. But the majority is so tangled that it's going to take thousands and thousands of ions to refine that entanglement, to dissolve the corrupt patterns. Because the curse is that when one is having those patterns, they hold on to the patterns very dearly, so they cannot let go. Because letting go would equate dissolution, ego death, parting of the shadow, dissolution of the shadow. It's painful. Sometimes more painful than just to hold on to it. Sometimes holding on to your shadow and patterns leads you to the top of the world, becoming rich, becoming famous. But the price is very high. It is the loss of your very essence. It is the loss of the connection with the higher existence. We can't find the truth in the world. And yet the truth is just here now. The truth is that reconnection with the essence that allows you to refine yourself. How do you refine? You hold on to the essence, become aware of the patterns and dissolve them. Let go. Release all the corrupt patterns that keep you in the bondage, in the illusion of becoming. This is the biggest delusion, whether on a spiritual path or whichever life path. Becoming something. You cannot become anything. You are already that. It's like a seed that holds all the genetic information about the plant. And when the soil is fertile, it makes, and the sun is shining, there is enough water, the seed sprouts out into a tree, into a plant, into a flower. The same is with the person. When we incarnate here, the seed of corruption is there. That's the karmic seed that unfolds into the body. But there is also consciousness. And whoever incarnates here with the seed that still has the connection to the higher being, that seed will definitely find its way back to that higher consciousness sooner or later. Not everyone has that connection from the start who incarnates in this day and age, because some beings are devoid of that direct connection. But this is a different topic. The most important is to come back to the realization of who you are before this incarnation. But who you were before, you are now too. And who you are to come, you are now attempting to be. And this moment defines everything. Refinement means being constantly aware. The more you hold on to the higher awareness, the less you are affected by the shadows, and by not giving them any conscious energy, they dissolve by themselves. Another method is the acknowledgement of the shadow, because when you say, Right now, I'm in the shadow dissipates. So it's always the awareness that guides us out of the shadows, that makes sure we don't feed the shadows and the limited paradigms within ourselves. And with time, because of not doing so, these shadows dissolve. And we receive more and more powerful waves from the high existence, high reality, which become our presence, our knowledge, our bliss, which transform our core, refine it, in other words, from corruption, and reflect on the physical body, enlightening this physical body too, on a genetic, on a cellular level. So you can understand what life truly is. You can either be life or you are dying slowly. You're either life or you're rotting alive. Every moment coming closer and closer to that moment of agony, which is not real death, because real death is liberation, painless freedom, exit out of the physical vehicle by will, consciously. That would be real death, known to the ancients. Our current death is not death. It's the agony of rotting alive, is not living, but wasting, the process of wasting energy from birth to the moment of forceful decay and push out of the body, because the body cannot support life anymore. The life has been wasted, that essence has been wasted. So no one has the capacity to give you Shaktipat. They can only either be what they are or pretend to be something that they are not. Shaktipat is the grace of your own soul. Or when you're reconnected with that essence, it's a spiritual download, extra energy that you receive from the source because of your own purity, because of your own spiritual work of refinement. When you come in contact with highly evolved and refined beings, in their presence, you truly reconnect with that higher being yourself. They don't do anything. They don't give you anything. Who are they? They're humble beings. Who are they to give you? Just by looking at them, by being in their presence, you reconnect with the higher being. And you truly understand then through your inner perception, through this reconnection, the grace of your own soul. True highly evolved beings do not claim anything. They do not take credit for the teaching, for the service, for their being. They bathe in their own bliss, awareness, knowledge, contentment. But their presence heals, transforms, and teaches without sometimes words, sometimes with words. It transforms, it raises awareness because they are on that level of awareness. They emanate that level of awareness. So whoever comes to their proximity is touched by that without them doing anything, without them even having such an intention. When you're love, anyone who comes into your proximity becomes love too, even for a short time. When you're bathing in the sunlight, you merge with that sunlight. You perceive that warmth. You are enveloped in that warmth. That's the presence of the light beings, of highly evolved, perfected, immortal masters. The rest is dirt under their feet. dust, occult shimmer, occult shadows, and spiritual darkness that is in need of your spiritual essence and energy. So when you think you're awakened, it might not be so. When after coming in proximity with someone, you start experiencing horror, dark attachments, torment, black magic, question yourself and other people's motives. Because it might be something that you're not aware of, and because of your own shadows, you were pulled into that. It is true that there are moments of facing darkness, of facing your own shadows after the spiritual awakening. But it is not the same as when someone is attached to the masters of the darkness, even if these masters appear to be as if spiritually evolved beings, some sort of teachers or gurus. Those who have real eyes and high awareness to perceive beyond the veil can now the rest stay in the darkness until they remove their own veils. Thank you very much. Thank you for your questions, comments, and be all blessed.